Hi there, and welcome to another episode here on Bustthenet. Yes, today we've got a special show lined up for you. It's all about what we're gonna expect to see in FM18. Yes, FM18 is just around the corner. November is gonna be the important month when we're all gonna be rushing into the new game. Most likely, it's gonna be a look at the beta. And for today's show, I'm actually I thought we'd invite Guido Merry and ask him about what his thoughts are going to be on FM18. But first up, how do you think FM17 was for you? I mean, how did you feel playing the game?
I enjoyed the game because, well, I wouldn't have played the amount of games I did. I think I reached 3.5k somewhere yesterday or the day before, and I wouldn't have reached that if the game was not fun. But looking at is it really a new game? Has it offered a lot of new gameplay options compared to FM16? I'd say no.
Okay.
Most of the new features for FM17 were fluff features. Like anyone gives a serious shit about the social media interactions. I mean, I don't. I know you don't. So most of it's fluff. It's filling. I mean, fix the key areas of the game before you start looking into stuff like that. Fix the international fixtures. Look at the match engine. Make sure that works the way it does. Look at the training engine. Those would be my priority areas. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I to tell you the truth, the first time I saw the social media interaction, as in us, Twitter, and that stuff, I was thinking to myself, cool. But it lasted all of 30 seconds. Because it became something like it became annoying because I don't like the idea of plugging like a result on Twitter just like that. I mean, it didn't feel fun. So as far as putting my own Twitter handle into the game, I just didn't buy it. I didn't enjoy the idea. And for me, the other part that didn't make any sense was in game. Yeah, once in a while I get caught up in the whole Twitter conversations that they have about signing a player or what they look forward to when he's going to be playing a match. Yeah, okay, right. So there's an element of fluff, but because of the speed we play the game at now, right? Most of us, we don't spend a lot of time on that. We worry more about the next game. We worry more about preparing for the game, preparing our players, looking at how our youth develop. So yeah, the whole
looking at new players to sign.
Exactly. I rather. Okay, what I would have enjoyed more was let's talk about the under 18s or the youth team. Let's incorporate, like, if there is an under 18 player doing really well in an under 18 competition, feed it through into the news feed. That'll be more fun. Include that into the social feed. Then that will make it a bit more engaging for me. Then I'll be monitoring the social feed because I'll be looking for the next new starlet which could come out from the social feed or the news feed. I think elements of that nature should be included in the game. I mean, in the sense that it would increase my immersion level. But
I mean, like that Celtic kid, Karamoko Dembele, and others YouTube starlets whose compilation videos are touted all over Twitter and YouTube.
Exactly. So you could have, instead of like, you have an agent, right, coming in and linking all these videos. Now we've got these videos of this youngster. He's 18 years old, 17 years old. I don't care if he's 5 years old playing the damn game, okay? But come on. I mean, you're gonna have all this. I mean, just that alone, it makes me. I'm a huge. I loved youth training. I love the whole youth development model. Okay, I enjoy that. I can't say the same about the model internally in the game, right? Like I've always hated professionals who are 16 years old. Never made any sense to me. A model professional 16 years old. Dude, when I was 16 years old, I was burning down trees. I used to get caught on campuses. My coaches couldn't get me to, I'll be moaning because I have to do an extra 60 sit-ups. I mean, I never encountered a professional 16-year-old in my entire life. The only professional
that's not even to say the influence of your hormones at that age, worrying about, well,
Yeah, exactly.
The
The only
fairer
reason,
sex.
yeah, we score 4 goals and I'll be looking at the girls. I won't be looking at my coach. I'll be looking at, okay, so who am I going to have go on a date on this weekend? Yeah, but the idea of having model professionals, I mean, to say that somebody's a model professional at the age of 16 is yes, we can say he's got great determination. Yes, we can say that maybe has got a good work ethic, but definitely do not tell me his personality is a model professional or a model citizen. 16
Just
years old, they don't
look at
even know how to
someone.
vote.
Look at someone like Ronaldo. I mean, he became somewhat like a model professional in his late 20s. Basically, when he joined Real Madrid, he started become a model professional. He
Exactly.
started to invest more time. I mean, when he was at Man United, he was a showboat. He was flashy. He was arrogant. He was trying to impress the whole world with his skill set. Maybe towards the end of his Man United tenure, he was becoming more and more professional, more and more efficient. And I feel he made the next step in that progression when he joined Real Madrid.
Yeah,
It,
true.
it, it takes time for players to mature mentally.
Yeah, and you don't find him at 16 years old. I mean, realistically speaking, it's the okay, and this happens to be the biggest exploit in the game. Okay, there are exploits in the game, but this one is number one. It is the biggest exploit. Because if I can find a play, all I do is I go to the list, I search by professional, find all the 16-year-olds, and do you know what I do? I don't even think about it twice. If they got 3 stars, I sign them, I go after them. I don't hesitate. I bring them in. And there's a very strong possibility that these boys are gonna develop well. And it's like
Yeah.
it's a huge exploit in the game. I mean, people are complaining about overloads or match engine exploits, but the biggest exploit in the game is youth development. Because it is the easiest thing it's so easy to build a team of superstars by the time you're in your 7th season, 8th season. It is that
And
simple.
that's basically what the AI does. I mean, they snap up all the big talents that way uh, until a certain age, and they basically fail to develop them often. How often don't you see clubs like Paris Saint-Germain or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or any of the English clubs stockpiling foreign talents,
Correct.
and by the time they hit 21, 22, 23, they've developed into nice players, decent enough players for top level football, but they've never really tasted first team football. They barely saw first team action. So while their attributes have developed, their reputation hasn't, and that makes them easy targets to snap up even for lower league clubs, especially once their contracts run out and aren't renewed because their reputation isn't high enough for a top club to consider renewing them. That's another major exploit, which kind of links up with what you said. The AI exploits this whole star scouting system even more than we do. Instead of using common sense and saying, okay, I invested like 5 million into this now 23-year-old player, who I have developed into a decent one. Instead of selling him, they often release him. Instead of loaning him out to other clubs, they often just let them sit in the reserves and rot there. It's
It's
yeah,
true.
messed up.
It is messed up. I mean, the way I look at it, for me personally, is the youth development model. I mean, yes, I know that we have our match engine issues. We always do. I mean, the match engine is in a constant state of evolution. So, I'm talking about something that will, if I get into the game FM18 and if I see this, I go, wow, this is a new change. This is awesome. Like, for example, there's another one, and comes from Mick Pringle. I mean, I asked this question on Twitter, and he gave back a response, which was very, very valid. His suggestion was he would love to see this in FM18. You know how our under 18s or our reserve teams are locked into the same tactic the senior team is using, right?
Hmm.
So if the scene and people like me, I mean, people like me, I change tactics every 2-3 games. I mean, I'm having fun. I'm flipping a tactic around, flipping a tactic here. But there are some clubs in real life in Portugal and in Holland. What they do is their youth teams play a specific system like the 4-3-3. Their youth teams only play that system, and
Hey, you're thinking Ajax, for example.
yes, exactly. They don't care what the senior team does, but the youth team always plays that tactic. It's to build that model like Barcelona used to do as well. The youth team plays a certain tactic to develop players in a certain direction. But we are locked into the reserve team, the under eight, the youth team is locked into the model that the senior team follows. I wish that we had the option to unlock this so that we can say, okay, we want the youth team only to play a 4-3-3. That's all, because that's the way I'm planning the long-term development on my side. Not tie me into a situation where I have to use the same tactic for the next 20 years or 10 years. I'm playing the same 4-3-3. Okay, fine, it's boring. Yeah, after a while it gets boring. After a while, it's seriously. I'll give you an example. Do you know how long I played FM14, 15, and 16? These three FM games. 1 month after the beta was released, 1 month after the game was released live, I stopped playing the game. Because the immersion level of the game was gone.
Get stale.
Yeah, it got stale. FM16, remarkably, 17 was the only game I played for. I mean, I'm still playing the game and it's crossing into FM18, which is a first for me. It's amazing. I mean, I do.
But that is because you're chopping and changing a lot. You're changing tactics a lot. You've got the community feeding you ideas to build tactical identities. Yeah. You maybe you wouldn't even have thought about some of these ideas before someone fed them to you, and then you figured, hey, that's a nice challenge. Let's see if I can pull it off.
Yeah, it's true. The FM Tactics show became a huge, like, okay, I want to see whether A, I can make these tactics work, and B, it's more like a two-way street, right? I get a chance to try the tactic out. I get a chance to try it differently, and maybe for the user, for him as well, he gets a chance to see how that tactic can play differently. Now, I want to ask you a question. Now, when it comes to the game itself, right, from a bigger picture, how do you think Brexit affected the game in FM17? And how do you think it might affect the game in FM18?
Well, let's start by saying that I don't believe politics should be playing a role in any game. I wasn't a fan of them including it initially. Especially because we don't know how it's going to look and if it's even going to happen at all. So this was a wildly inappropriate move for me. Having said that, in game I have enjoyed Brexit being there. I usually never play in England because it's too easy. With the money you have, you can basically gobble up any European talent you desire and build a world-class team in a few seasons.
Yeah, true.
I've only played one proper FM17 save. That's the one I'm in right now, and I did spend 5 or 6 seasons at West Ham in the 2040s somewhere, and I've had a hard Brexit in my game, and that is what made the game interesting to me, because the only players I could get were established foreign stars. I mean proper internationals, not even good players with 1 or 2 caps, but just the full-on internationals, which automatically forced you down a road of youth development, improving the academy, looking at leading youngsters into your own squad. And by the time I left West Ham, out of the 25 players in first team squad, almost all of them were British, and I think nearly half of them came through the West Ham academy, and that included a number of world-class players, because I was managing England at the time as well, and doing a lot better than I did on your show with them. I won 1 World Cup, and I think 8 out of the starting 11 were West Ham players. So yeah, it can be immensely fun setting up an academy like that, because the circumstances force you to. In the long run, I could have just splashed the cash every season and bought some Brazilians or Spaniards or whatever and brought those in. But sinking that money into staff and sinking that money into short-term foreign replacements and costing those off again as soon as youngsters are ready for the step up, for me that was a hugely challenging task, because the Premier League is hugely competitive. You can't afford any mistakes, so you can't thrust these youngsters into first team at a too early an age, because they won't perform. So you have to find the right balance between tutoring them and having quality domestic or foreign players to tutor them, and making sure you sell off these foreign players in time before they become too old or lose market value too often, but not too soon, because the youngsters have to be able to step up and take over in a proper fashion. That balancing act was fun and challenging.
That's true, because I've had saves that people have sent me where they go like, "Oh my god, it's so difficult," and I go like, "Oh my god, this is such a challenge." I'm like, "Wow, you've got a really tough Brexit." Then they go like, "Really? I didn't know." See, don't you know? You can only literally use English players, and I thought it lent. I mean, it made games different. I mean, you could have a different England save. So I mean, in his save, it was unique because I wasn't seeing huge transfer values. And this brings me to the next point. Are you looking forward to one change? I think I looking forward to FM18. Let's now look forward to FM18 and let's look forward to some of the changes we might expect, right? I'm hoping that the transfer cap is lifted, because we have a cap at 200 million. And your dog seems to agree with me too.
Yeah, my dog just likes big transfers. She's a traditionalist. She loves youth development.
So what do you think? Are you looking forward to that change in FM18? If it happens.
Yeah, it has to happen, really, because people will complain about it because I can't sell Paul Pogba for 200 million. I've seen Mbappe move, but it wasn't even 150 million. It was only 70 million. That's not realistic. That's not even. Let's not pass moral judgment on how fucked up it is that a player is actually worth the gross national product of a small African nation.
How about the whole team?
They have to implement something like that. I have sold a player for 228 million this FM, but that took me some big hard negotiating, and it was to Paris Saint-Germain, so that doesn't even really count. But
that's cool. That's huge. I mean, 228 million. I think my largest was 120, but 220 is quite the achievement. Now, if you're looking forward to FM18, right? Okay, I mean, this is something I think a lot of people want to see fixed, right? In FM17, again, something that people want to see fixed is the goalkeeping howlers in the game. So I know you sent me a video, okay, and I'm gonna play this video back, okay. So this is one of your howlers from FM18.
2 weeks ago.
This happened a few weeks ago, right? So let's see this howler, okay. He passes the ball into the box. TikTok, okay.
Yeah.
He mishandled. Oh my goodness. What?
You see stuff like this all the time. Keepers fumbling the ball over their own line. Mm-hmm. Keepers fisting, completely misjudging the flight of the ball. I know that stuff happens in real life. I really do know it happens in real life. But it happens so very often in FM. You have the classic FM17 howler where the keeper kicks the ball into the back head of his own defender, and it flies in, stuff like that. You see that happen in real life maybe once or twice a season. Mm-hmm. In FM, you see it. Well, I'm not going to say every competition round, but every 2 or 3 rounds you will see a goal like that.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is. There are fumbles in the game. I agree. I mean, I was the victim of one a few weeks ago. But I would say that in my season, I've seen it happen to us like maybe 3 times a season, where we get howlers like, my keeper makes the ridiculous decision to pass to a player who's already been pressed, or the one that gets hit in the back of the head and comes back. I've had that happen. I've had one where the goalkeeper parries the ball, then for some strange reason drops the ball, and then the ball rolls backwards and he's still standing there a good 4 seconds before he dives, which I think is an animation issue, because they might be trying. I I know that there have been a lot of goalkeeping blunders, and SI actually have admitted that this is something that they are going to try and fix in FM18.
To make a poor pun, they dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, okay, I agree. I definitely think that I'm looking forward to more animations in FM18. I reckon there'll be a bit more animations in FM18. They always try to add a few more. I think there was the last season I started noticing the Rabana assist. You know what the Rabana assist is, right?
Yeah, the Rabona with
Rabona,
the back heel stuff. Yeah, I know what a Rabona is. Just can't quite explain it.
Yeah, it's like
Ricardo Quaresma loves doing them.
Yeah, you do an assist on your standing foot, right? You do an assist or a pass with the inside of your playing foot around the standing foot. So it's
exactly,
it's pretty cool to watch. Yeah, it's like awesome. I saw a few of them in the match in my game, and I was pretty impressed. And small little animations like that always get added to the game. But what do you think about? Okay, now we get to the juicy part. All right. Okay, I'm gonna ask you this question. What do you think in terms of roles? Do you expect to see something different?
Well, I can't say I expect it, but I can definitely hope for it. I mean, let's look at the latest rules edition. The one I could have done without is the Raumdeuter.
Okay.
Because it's literally based on the style of play of a single player, Thomas Müller. But there are other rules I would love to see. For instance, the inverted wingback has only one setting, that's support. But it would have made sense to add a
Philip Lahm model,
defense and attack and automatic model as well, just like a regular fullback. And there are other rules I'd like to see. Are you familiar with the writing work of Jonathan Aspey?
Yes, I am.
And then you will remember what he wrote about the central winger.
Okay, carry on.
Can you remember how Angel Di Maria played for Real Madrid in central midfield?
Yes, I did.
Basically drove with the ball at his feet through the heart of the midfield, and then darted towards the wings or penetrated towards the box. And you can't mimic a role like that, because a box-to-box midfielder is too defensive to play like that. And you can no longer tweak the central midfielder attacking role to move into channels or to move wide like that. So they basically took it out to create it effectively. I'd like to see that role return, and it's actually a role that happens a lot in especially South America. That they do have a specific name for it, but damned if I can remember right now. But yeah, that's a style of play quite a few players use these days. It's a style of play I imagine somewhat like Paul Pogba being quite effective in, just marauding down the pitch, darting wide if space opens up there. Also, another thing I'd like to see, but probably won't see, is the withdrawn target man. You can use a target man up front, but you can't use one in attacking midfield. Whereas there are plenty of examples of clubs doing that in real life. Just look at Mourinho sticking Fellaini in behind the strikers just to hold up the ball or flick it on. You can't really get that kind of movement in FM. I know I've tried and I come close at times, but it's just not the same.
It takes so much. Yeah, it takes a lot of effort right now for us to create certain roles. Like you mentioned the target man. For me, I tried to create the inverted wingback support edition or the defend edition with the fullback using a stack of PIs and a whole set of player traits, and I had to go and look for the perfect player, and it still wouldn't work. Yeah, but I also know that there is a way in which is one of the recommendations I'll make to anybody. If you want to see a role in the game and you have clear examples of the roles and how they play and how they could play, right? And if you have video footage or any written articles from websites and noted videos from even live screenshots of a match, do a whole little piece, because what I'm looking forward to, and I'm not sure if this role is going to make an appearance, but I've been pushing for this duty for a really long time. I've been pushing for this duty close to 4 seasons now, but last year I did my best work on it, and it was in a closed environment, and I'm hoping to see it happen this season. If it doesn't, I'll be disappointed.
What is it?
The attacking central defender.
Ah, you mean basically like a libero, or someone like David Luiz, who just strides forward with the ball at his feet and runs into midfield.
Exactly. But more, I don't want him to play as a libero. The problem is now we have the libero. The libero works okay for me. I mean, he's okay. He works all right. What I want is either I don't want a libero. I want to have the option of turning a central defender into an attacking duty. So essentially, he would have the option of dribbling more. He would have the option of pushing further forward, and I could put him on any position on the back line. So he doesn't have to play in the specifically right in the center where the libero is playing. I want to, because it's more to mimic Azpilicueta's, the way he played last season with Chelsea, where they created a pivot with Azpilicueta on one side, and I think, who was the other defender? Cahill, but Cahill wasn't so effective. But it was Azpilicueta, and you would often see Azpilicueta so high up the pitch. He would be doing crosses.
Yeah, and like I said, someone like David Luiz would be another example of someone who realistically plays in such a role.
Okay, exactly. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm pretty certain there are going to be tweaks. The inverted wingback, I'm looking forward to a second duty for the inverted wingback. I'm pretty sure it might come, because in the first edition of the inverted wingback, when we first tested the inverted wingback out, I still remember my concerns, as it was a potential match engine exploit because of his movement and the way he can move. I noticed that he was super good at coming back. He was super good at going forward. He was super good at coming back. I was like going...
And his runs were just not picked up.
Yeah.
And if you set up the team effectively, he was basically a withdrawn inside forward who could run 50, 60 yards forward without anyone picking him up.
True. And I remember that was the first edition of the inverted wingback. I don't think a lot of people got the chance to see it. I mean, we saw glimpses of it in the public beta, but then they tweaked it. I know that they changed it around because...
And it did work for a while in the full game, but that was quickly patched. So that was maybe like two at best 3 months that it was actually active the way
correct,
the way you described.
Because I immediately wrote this was a huge match engine exploit, and I knew
it was tactical kryptonite.
Yeah, it was. You could rip any team apart. I mean, just put him there. You have I even created a tactic which had no real defenders to speak of, with 2 inverted wingbacks pushing forward, and it was crazy. I mean, the way I saw the game develop, and I was like, there are exploits in the game. I mean, there are always going to be exploits. The people are always going to find exploits, and it's not it's not a reflection of how bad the game is. It's a reflection of sometimes new roles that the guys are working on, or new duties that they want to introduce into the game. It unbalances it slightly, and that was what happened to inverted wingback.
Let me send you a picture of the inverted wingback going on a rampage like that. This is a piece dated January 12th of this year. So that was during the brief phase that they didn't quite patch it the way it should be. You can just see the inverted wingback going on a complete rampage, just marauding down that flank, not being picked up the way he should be picked up. It's completely unrealistic. You can see him picking up the ball deep inside his own half, and he just runs.
Yeah, I remember this.
He runs some more, and there's no one picking him up, and he cuts inside, still nobody picking him up. Runs inside some more, gets to the edge of the area, blasts it in, and all the way the defenders keep backing off him. It's like they don't know what to do with this player, whose responsibility is it to pick him up. Wherein, well, realistically, he can run past 1 or 2 players, and then someone's going to snap in and kick him to the curb. Here in the game, there was a brief moment where he could just run all over the place as long as there was space ahead of him, and no one was going to pick him up.
True. And now the good thing is they fixed it, and I know that was probably down to a lot of the good work of a lot of people behind the scenes, because a lot of us were putting in like, this can be done, this can be done, that can be done. And we had, I mean, that's why I love the first few months of any FM game. You're gonna have fun. So pick a good side, have as much fun as you want, and do the crazy things that we always love to do with our tactics. That's what I'm looking forward to in FM18. I'm expecting to see new rules. I mean, I won't expect to see new rules. I'm probably going to see some new, maybe I'm hoping to see rather a new role and new duty for the central defender. I'm hoping to see another variation of the inverted wingback. Yeah, those are my two big ones.
There are plenty of examples, especially for the central defender, of players who play in such a fashion. We discussed Davinson Sanchez last time.
Mm-hmm.
He's another player who would suit that role. I mean, you can remember the Europa League final where he just strode forward with the ball at his feet a number of times and just deep inside the Man United half, comfortable with the ball at his feet. Jan Vertonghen from Spurs would be another one who just does that, who just ventures forward with the ball at his feet, tries to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'd love to see such a role.
Yeah, I definitely. Okay, there's one other thing, and this is nothing to do with FM18. I'm looking forward to one other thing in FM18. All right, and it's not a thing. It's the return of Cleon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so anxious to see him come back, and I can't say that because I do know what he's got planned for the future, but I am so looking forward to all his ideas, to everything he's got planned out, and I'm so looking forward to helping him out with that. I do realize a number of people will already know this, but Cleon is basically one of the guys who kickstarted my FM writing career.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a small-time fish. I think that's now 3 years ago, and I got my big break writing for Clear Cut Chance, which is to date still the best ever.
True, it was, and I'm looking forward to Cleon coming back because his writing style, the depth that he goes into, the new site that he's got, tnbusquets.com, and I'm pretty certain this is not the end of Cleon. There's going to be a lot more. It's just that he's had to handle lots of things in his personal life, so that takes precedence, and I'm sure that he's got his little five-a-side football team at home. They've grown up a bit, so he's got more time for FM. So
yeah, and I have offered my services to him. He's great in writing text, but if he broke those up with short infographics at times, it would be even better. And I've offered help providing those to him because it would make it even better than it is already.
True.
And he's just a phenomenal guy. I mean, I know he comes across as a bit grumpy at times, but he's really one of the most helpful people in the community I've ever met. He's never turned me down. He's never been blunt or rude to me. He's always been patient when I failed to understand something at the first time around. So, and he's never talked down to me or been condescending. So I've heard people had different experiences with him, but I for one cannot relate.
I get where he's coming from, and I think that after a while you want people to pick up the game, try things out, not wait for that magical formula that gives them winnable tactics. Now, we would love to talk and talk and talk, and I know that I want to keep this up, keep this going, Guido. But I think that why don't we do this? We have a lot of comments coming from the community, and I think this warrants maybe another look at this topic on a future show.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is I want to thank Guido for coming on board. I think we'll do another show where we gather the comments from the community because I see a lot of them coming through, and we will do one more show where your thoughts on what you'd like to see in the game for FM18, we'll discuss that on the next show. Thank you, Guido, for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. It's been a blast as always.
So, November the 10th, are you all set for this day? Have you penned that into your diary?
Yeah, it's my birthday a few weeks after that, so I'll just ask for my present in advance.
Oh God, man. Yeah, I wish that could work for me too. That's my wife's anniversary. My wife's anniversary. Our anniversary. Sorry, why am I saying my wife's anniversary? It's like our
Yeah,
anniversary.
just make sure she never finds out you said that, or you're sleeping
Look,
on the couch, mate.
I've already forgotten the anniversary once before. So now there's this big
Oh dear.
sticky note on my computer, but she says anniversary. Don't forget this time. So I better not forget. She's gonna hang me from the first.
Yeah,
flagpole
she'll kill you probably
Yeah,
slowly, painfully.
please, you and my wife better not meet, okay? I don't want her to get any ideas from you. So, thank you everybody for tuning in for the show today. Now, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, and if you want us to discuss something particular on the show, please drop me a note on Twitter. You can find me at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com. You can also find Guido at strikeless.com and Cleon and tandbusquets.com. So until we meet again, I'd like to thank all my Patreons for their continued support of this channel and for supporting Guido's channel at strikeless.com. You guys take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.